Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'll be using Scrapbook.com's adorable rabbit die set. Here's a look at the new rabbit die set from Scrapbook.com. It includes the rabbit head, ears, and body, and there are an assortment of fun accessories to dress up your rabbit. And on the back side of the package, there are sample ideas of how you can dress up the rabbit. For pattern paper, I'll be using two different collections from Scrapbook.com. I have their new birthday collection and also Sherbet. I'm showing you the 6x8 size, but the birthday collection is also available in A2 size. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. I've already gone ahead and cut out all of the pieces, and I have them organized in Scrapbook.com's stack and sort trays. And I'm using the large and also regular size stack and sort trays. For cardstock, I'll be using a wide variety of colors from Scrapbook.com's smooth cardstock paper pads. And I do have one specialty paper pad. It's their holographic mirror paper pad. I'll pull out my small zippered pouch that holds my Crafty tools. I have a couple pairs of scissors, reverse tweezers, my adhesive roller, and also the Craft Pick Pro tool. For adhesive, I'm using Scrapbook.com's Deluxe Adhesive Roller. I've had a lot of people ask, this roller is not refillable, but it does include quite a bit of adhesive. There's 98 feet of adhesive on it. If you're not comfortable with a large tape runner, this is a good alternative. It's a smaller size, easier to hold, and the adhesive is super sticky. The pattern paper I'm using for this first card is from the birthday collection, but I'm also using quite a few of the solids from a variety of smooth cardstock paper pads from Scrapbook.com. I love using cardstock layers for my cards, so I always have quite a few of their smooth cardstock paper pads on hand. For the background of my card, I have a light peach color. I added a panel of light green paper. This is 2 3/4 of an inch by 5 inches. Then on the right side, I have a strip of pattern paper with birthday cakes and cupcakes. Layered that piece on a slightly darker green solid. The pattern paper piece is 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches. And the green cardstock layer is an additional 1/8 of an inch. Since this will be a birthday card, I'm adding a fun celebration banner die cut using the small little circle piece. Cut this out of a bright yellow cardstock. I cut 2 pieces. I'll put one more on the right side and the other on the left. The pieces are wider than my card. I'll put glue on the back side of the area that'll be attached to the card. Then I'll flip it over, use my scissors, and trim off the extra. And the liquid glue I'm using is Scrapbook.com's Artis, and I have the ultra fine metal tip on it. I will be adding an oval die cut, but for now I'll set aside my card and start assembling one of the rabbits. Thought it would be fun to have a purple rabbit. And the purple cardstock colors are from the Purple Smooth Cardstock Paper Pad. I love that they have a variety of different purple shades. I recently bought a brand new craft mat and I don't want to get glue all over it, so I'm using a silicone mat from Scrapbook.com to do all of my gluing. I'm hoping that'll help me keep my mat cleaner. I will admit I get a little messy with glue. It's much easier to get the glue off of the silicone mat versus my craft mat. For the inside of the bunny's ears, I'm using some pink cardstock. And I believe that color is from the Pink's Smooth Paper Pad. For the body of the bunny, I'm using the same purple shade as the body's head. There are a variety of different items you can put on the bunny's head. I wasn't sure which one I wanted. I cut out the headband with Happy B-Day, and I also have the crown. And I used one of the silver holographic papers from the holographic mirror paper pad. For my card, I decided to go with the headband. I think this is really cute. I'll adhere the headband down first. The rabbit die set also has 4 different styles of glasses. And I thought the bunny would look super cute wearing a dark purple pair of glasses. After adhering the pair of glasses, I'll glue down the nose. This is a fairly small piece, so I am using the new Craft Pick Pro tool from scrapbook.com. I'll first add a small drop of Artis glue, use the wax tip end of the tool to pick up that small heart nose and adhere it in place. When adding the glasses, I find it easier to get the placement of the eyes correct if you adhere the glasses down first. I tried a sample one and I did the eyes first and they were completely off and didn't line up with the glasses. So there's my rabbit all finished. I used black cardstock for the closed eyes and also the mouth. I'll be gluing the rabbit on a white oval die cut, and I do have the very bottom of the rabbit going off the edge of the oval. I'll use my scissors and trim off that overhang. Then I'll put glue on the back of the white oval and layer it on a vellum oval. And this is the next size up oval in scrapbook.com's nested oval die set. I'll be adding the oval more on the left side of the card and decided I would pop it up with some foam dimension. I'm using the 1mm large rounds foam. Scrapbook.com recently released more sizes of their 1mm and also 3mm foam. The 1mm is my personal favorite since it doesn't add a lot of extra bulk. I'll put one circle around the edge of the oval, and using some of the negative area of the foam, I'll cut a small piece and add it on the inside. No point of wasting all that extra foam. Then I'll remove the release paper and add the oval with the rabbit on the left side of the card. And the release paper on the new foam comes off really easily. For a sentiment, I've already stamped and cut this out. I use scrapbook.com's Happy Birthday stamp and coordinating die set. The ink color is Mardi Gras by Catherine Pooler. I will put some foam dimension on the back. This time I'm using the 1/8 inch strips, and this is the 2mm thickness. I'll add a piece at the very bottom and the top right and top left, just leaving a gap in the middle, since that area of the sentiment will sit on top of the oval and rabbit. I'll remove the release paper and adhere the sentiment underneath my purple rabbit. For a final finishing touch, using pops of color, this is the glitter snowflake color. It's clear and it has a beautiful sparkly glitter. I'll add a tiny little drop on all the small circles of the banners, making it look more like twinkle lights. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. The other rabbit is wearing the crown. Since I couldn't decide between the 2, figured I may as well make 2 cards. Now moving on to card design number 2. The pattern paper I'm using for this card is from scrapbook.com's Sherbet collection. I've already gone ahead and cut out all of the pieces for my card. I have them organized in scrapbook.com's stack and sort trays. I'll start off by stamping the sentiment. The sentiment is from the Hello Spring stamp set. I'm using Some Bunny Loves You. There will be a coordinating die set, but it's not out yet. You can see it in the Coming Soon section on scrapbook.com's website. I'll stamp the sentiment on some pink cardstock using Honeybee Stamps Intense Black ink. And I am using the Rose Quartz MISTI to make sure I get a nice solid impression. I also used my Stampendable tool to make sure I got even pressure when stamping. Now I'll layer the sentiment strip on more of the pink cardstock. This piece is about 1/8 of an inch wider than the sentiment strip. And even though it's the same pink color, it still adds that little bit of detail from the extra layer. I put adhesive on the back of the sentiment strip, but I'll set that aside for now. Using scrapbook.com's nested A2 arches die set, I cut out the smaller arch from some white pearlescent cardstock, and the larger arch I cut out of vellum. I'll glue the 2 pieces together, lining them up at the very bottom. So the top part of the arch is a little bit wider at the top than on the sides. Now I'll put adhesive on the back and layer my pattern paper piece on the same pink cardstock. The background pattern paper piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and the background pink cardstock is 4 1/4 inch by 5 1/2 inches. I'll put my card front onto a card base, then I'll set that aside and start assembling another rabbit. I have all of the die cut pieces already cut out and stored in the small stack and sort tray. I'll pull out the silicone mat from scrapbook.com so I can make all of my mess there instead of on my regular craft mat. For my second rabbit, I used 2 different shades of brown cardstock, and I believe this is from the Neutral Smooth paper pad. I used a light peach cardstock color for the inside of the ears, and instead of adhering them on the outside area of the ears, I'm adding them in the center of the ears. One of the accessories for the rabbits is a headband tied at the top in a bow. I used some blue cardstock for that piece. I put a little bit of glue on the back side to adhere it to the bunny's ears, and for a little extra security while I wait for that glue to dry, I'll also add a small piece of double-sided tape on the back side. This bunny will be wearing a dress, and I used some teal and white polka dot pattern paper from the Sherbet collection. Using white cardstock, I'll add the lacy collar. And there's also an individual bow that you could use as a bow tie. You could use just that bow on the bunny. I decided to add the small bow on top of the headband bow, and I cut it out from the same blue cardstock color along with the very center tie piece on the bow. I only put glue behind the center of the bow, that way I can lift up the ends for that extra dimension. I'm attaching the nose first using the Craft Pro Pick tool. The wax end is my favorite, perfect for picking up those small pieces. But there are 3 other tools included on this one tool, which is really handy. I like to use the metal diamond painting tip to press those die cuts in place or to help adjust them. For the bunny's mouth, I use the closed eye piece, so it looks like she has a little smile, and I use black cardstock for her eyes. My daughter is an artist and loves to draw animals, and she told me if I don't add the whites on the bunny's eyes, it looks like the bunny has no soul. So I did cut out some tiny little white circles. I used the Yeehaw word die set, and the tiny circle is from the word giddy. It's the dot for the eye. With such tiny white circles, it was definitely helpful to have the wax tip of the Craft Pro Pick tool. As I'm recording this voiceover, the Craft Pro Pick tool is not quite available, but it is in the Coming Soon section on scrapbook.com's website. And I will have links for all of the products I use in this video in the description box below. Now I'll adhere the bunny on the nested arch die cut. First, remove the release paper on the double-sided adhesive tape. I'll be gluing the bunny down, but I will pop up just the very tip of her ears using the small rounds foam, and this is the 1 millimeter thickness. Then I'll put Artis glue on the back of the rest of the bunny and adhere her at the bottom of the nested arch die cut. Now I'll put glue on the back of the white arch, making sure not to add any behind the vellum, that way it won't be visible from the front of the card. And yes, I did accidentally drop this arch and get glue at the bottom of my card. But I was able to wipe it off with my finger, and most of that area will be covered up with the sentiment. I did put some foam dimension on the back of the sentiment and adhered it underneath my little rabbit. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 3, I've already gone ahead and cut out all of the pieces, and I'll start off by assembling the rabbit. This rabbit will be gray and white. The gray cardstock color is from the Christmas Smooth cardstock paper pad. I use light pink cardstock for the inside of the ears. I have a darker teal cardstock for the rabbit shirt and also the collar. And this is the first time I was using the collar. I think it's easier to adhere the collar on the shirt, then put glue on the back of the rabbit's head and adhere it on top. That way the collar is tucked underneath. While I was recording the video, I did try it the other way first. Luckily, the glue hadn't dried completely, so I was still able to remove the rabbit's head, add the collar, then reattach the head on top of the shirt. I used a darker pink cardstock for the nose, black cardstock for the eyes, and black cardstock for the rabbit's mouth. I'll adhere the nose down first, then I'll add a small drop of glue for the eyes. Use the wax tip to pick up that small piece. And here you can see I'm using the diamond painting tip to help position those eyes. There's also a piercing tool and you could use that as well. I'll also be adding the whites on the eye. Cut out 2 more teeny tiny white circles. I'll add a small drop of Artis glue down first, then pick up those tiny white circles using the wax tip. Then using the diamond painting and I'll press them in place. Now I'll add the rabbit's mouth, and I find this one easier to glue down if you hold it using a pair of reverse tweezers. So there is my rabbit almost assembled. I thought it would be fun to have the rabbit wearing a cowboy hat. And the cowboy hat die is from the disco shape die set. I use light teal cardstock for the hat, and I use dark teal cardstock for the band and star on the hat. Same color as the rabbit shirt and collar. I'll put glue on the back of the hat, and you can see how it fits perfectly on top of the rabbit's head, and I love how his ears are poking out through the very top. Since my card will be featuring a cowboy rabbit, decided to go with the sentiment howdy, and this sentiment is part of the Yeehaw word dies. I use black cardstock for the letters of the sentiment and yellow cardstock for the outline piece. And the die set includes the words for the sentiment and also the outline piece for all 3 sentiments. I'll glue down all of the letters, and these line up very easily. It does help to have a pair of reverse tweezers to hold those small letters, put a little bit of glue on the back, and adhere them on the outline piece. I love this font with all the little circle cutouts. The other 2 sentiments included on the die set are Yeehaw and Giddy Up. And the disco die set that has the cowboy hat, there's another cowboy hat, just a different angle, and also a cowboy boot. For the background of my card, using pattern paper from the birthday collection, and I cut this out using a die from Pretty Pink Posh. This is their stitch torn rectangles. I love this die set. I'll put glue on the back and layer this piece on some yellow cardstock. And the yellow cardstock colors are from the yellow smooth cardstock paper pad. I will place a couple of acrylic blocks on top for some added weight while the glue dries. And that'll help the stitch edge lay nice and flat. Now I'll put adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base. When I started this set of cards, I looked at my adhesive roller and it looked really low, so I thought for sure I was going to run out, but it just kept going. I will be popping up the cowboy rabbit using the small rounds. This is the 1 millimeter thickness. I'll make sure to get good coverage. Remove the release paper, and I'll add the rabbit first on a vellum oval die cut. The star pattern paper is very tone-on-tone design, and the rabbit will still stand out against it, but I think having the vellum oval behind the rabbit really helps it pop against the background. And you'll still be able to see the star design through the vellum. I'll lay the oval on my card so I get the placement of the rabbit, and I'm adhering it more toward the top, leaving a little bit of a gap underneath the rabbit, and that's where I'll add the sentiment. I'll flip over the oval, put glue on the back side just behind the rabbit, and adhere it to the card. I also put some glue at the very bottom of the oval since that area will be covered up with the sentiment. Now I'll add foam dimension behind the sentiment. I'm using a foam roll. This is 1/4 inch wide and it's the 2 millimeter thickness. I'll add 2 strips behind the sentiment, remove the release paper, and adhere it underneath the rabbit. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. The other rabbit, I didn't add a collar on the shirt, and I think I prefer the shirt with the collar for this card. Now here's another look at the 6 cards I made using Scrapbook.com's Rabbit Shape die set. This is such a fun die set, and the possibilities are endless of how you could dress up your rabbit. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links in the description box below. If you enjoyed my video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.